pleasure to have my friend Veera, fellow blogger, neighbor, and alumna of Porvoo campus. Veera has been studying here. She'll tell us all about her background, and she's an award-winning blogger. Very proud to have her here. Now she works for Creatrix. We'll talk about this as well, or Veera will explain more. And this is a group of students where they're studying culture export. We have a study trip in Berlin in the next few weeks coming up, and there's also blogging students and tourism students. So I think your presentation, I took a look at it, addresses the issues that we discussed: how to monetize your blog, and importantly, how to build your own brand, online brand, and then the monetization perhaps will follow. Yeah. But I would like you to give the floor to Veera straight away. Thank you, Veera, for coming.
Thank you, Krista. I think I don't really know anyone here. I'm not saying you have to everyone tell names, but I want to know how many of you are tourism students, first of all. Just curious. Quite many. Very good. Good choice. And how many of you actually have a blog?
And you write for a blog.
So you tell about it? You write the about books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I ask about your blogs? Just shortly tell a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I do a lot about reviews of games and movies.
Okay. Good. And you have a blog too?
I created it's English course.
Okay.
It's just about myself and some philosophical reviews about the things like that.
Okay, sounds good. And somebody else had a blog too? You?
Yeah, I also created here, not updated anything there.
Yeah.
Still up there is about my workplace, becoming workplace in Nepal
Oh, sounds exciting.
at the end of the year.
I want to read that. I want to go to Nepal really badly.
Okay.
Okay, well that's good. Anyone thinking of starting a blog? I'm still curious about that one. Very good. Good choice. You'll get it started eventually. Anyway, so I come from a company called Creatrix. I work for them. I'll tell you a little bit about what I do there. But on the side, I'm also a professional travel blogger. So I earn my income from Creatrix and from my blogging. So I couldn't completely live on my blogging just at the moment, and I don't want to really, but half and half, I would say that. And I'll tell you a little bit about what Creatrix is. Does anybody actually know? I'm just curious also. Have you heard about it?
Where you can like plan virtual.
Yeah, it's quite a new app where you can do trip planning. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. And then I will tell you a little bit about my background, because I was a student here as well. I actually graduated only a few months ago. In summer. Yeah, so a bit less than half a year ago. And then how I monetized my blog, I did it maybe a bit differently than most bloggers. So I'll talk about that. So first I'll talk about me. So what I do at the moment is I'm a community lead, which means PR marketing for Creatrix. So I do PR, I write press releases, I write our travel blog, try to get more bloggers work with us, and go to all possible travel fairs around the world. So my company also gave me a really nice title called World Traveler, which I really like. And I hope I get to travel even more with my pretty title now. And I'm also a travel blogger at Finnair. I will tell you how that happened shortly. And I do that, I don't earn money from it, but I get to travel from it. So I think it's a great deal, because all my money really goes to airfares anyway. Then I have my own travel blog. Maybe somebody has heard about it. It actually has changed the name last year. It's called Wanderlust Expert, which is kind of how it all started for me. And this is something I haven't actually told anyone, but I'll tell you guys first. So next year I'll be travel blogging for Expedia Singapore about their Asian destinations, and earn income from that. And then on the side, I call myself an Asia expert, which has really worked out quite well for getting all interesting projects. In travel journalism, I have no background in journalism, and it's interesting how actually blogging got me sort of into journalism. So I write more and more freelance articles for different online travel publications. And first I'll tell you about Creatrix. So it's social trip planner for the smart traveler, as we call it. At the moment, it's an iPhone app, and if anyone has iPhone, I hope you download it. It's free to download. The idea is that my boss Juha-Petteri Kukkonen has traveled all his life, and he didn't think there is that perfect app for his purpose. There's a lot of travel apps. They're popping up like mushrooms, to be honest with you. But we really want to do something different, because the difference is that everyone in our company, we are the customers of what our product is. So it comes from our own need. So I hope we know what we're doing. So the idea is that you download the app and you plan your trip. You'll find best restaurants in Bangkok, all the nightclubs of Bangkok. You can add them to your trip and then have it all offline. So then, for example, I went to Shanghai and I found all those small cafeterias that people suggested you should go here. How will I find it? And then I was just walking around like this with my offline map. And then also what we have is something called travel books, which is where all the bloggers come in. So you can plan your own trip, but what you can also do is you can sell your own trip. This is at the moment for companies, travel bloggers, and travelers pretty much, but you have to apply. But for example, tourism students, if they have like lived abroad, they know a destination, this is a way for them to earn a little bit extra money or just to build a brand around what they're doing. So for example, here are a few, you can't see really, but this is a blogger. So she has lived in Tallinn and she created a travel book. I think this one's actually for free. But so what this includes is all her photos of the destination and like her favorite cafeterias, her favorite sites to see. So she has all that information there for someone else to use. For example, I have lived in Hong Kong and my friends are like, hey, I'm going to Hong Kong, can you give me any tips? And I'm like, download my guide, it's for free. And you'll find everything and all the detailed information. So for example, if there is a restaurant that I really like in Hong Kong, and because I've been there so many times, I know you have to go upstairs and this time and you have to order that. And then I can have all this detailed information in my guide. So it's a bit more than just a Lonely Planet. And yeah, we're calling it now just the Lonely Planet because we already have almost more guides than they do after being out for 2, 3, 4 months, something like that. 4 now, is it? Sure. Not good with numbers. And then we have companies. We have Hilton Hotel. For a new company, I think we did pretty well. We got Hilton on board as the first company. We wanted to find like, I might know a tour guide in Bangkok, for example, and ask, hey, do you want to do like a Bangkok guide? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. But somehow we ended up having Hilton as our first partner. So they're doing, the idea is that they want to have their guests spend more time with the brand even outside the hotel. And it's free for them to do, so why not? Mm-hmm. And on our website, you can sign up and I will find then the email and then you can start creating. Because the thing is that these are not creatrix travel guides. They are, for example, Hilton travel guide or London and beyond travel guide. So they are branded for that person or for that business.
Veera, and then there's, for instance, on the upper side, there's also guides that cost something. So what's the model then? Then the blogger gets 50% and you get other 50%?
Yes. So the blogger gets to decide the price or if they want to give it for free. For example, this guide here costs $5 something. So we have a revenue share of 50%, but Apple is really mean. So they take 30% of everything that happens under their business, absolutely everything. So they first take the 30% and then we share it 50-50. But the thing is that it's quite easy to make. And once you've made it, it's there forever or as long as you want it to be. So it can become a passive income. And if you do more of them, it's quite, for example, I wrote my Hong Kong guide and on the first month without any promotion, it had 400 downloads. It was a free guide, but it was interesting because it was a new app. We didn't have that many users and people already downloaded it 400 times. So we realized there's actually a business for this that people actually care about. Because nowadays it's like you read a Lonely Planet. I mean, I love Lonely Planets, don't get me wrong. I love collecting them in my shelf. They look pretty and they have a lot of good information. But the thing is that everybody now wants to get off the beaten path. You don't want to go to you might even not want to go to Paris to the Eiffel Tower. You want to find something that nobody knows about yet. So you might have a favorite blogger, so you want to travel the way they do. And then this is something that you can use for that.
I started creating my own travel guide for Athens as I'm going next week to the TBX, and I think the interface is also very user friendly.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, a big plus. It's very easy to use for any. It doesn't have to be blogger, as you mentioned, any traveler, a tourism student.
Yeah, you don't have to be like multi-experienced in anything, because we have built an interface which is a creation tool that works online. And everything is kind of already built there. So all you really have to do is decide a destination, put pretty pictures, and write nice stories. So it doesn't really, you don't need to be all that smart, because even I can do it. So, and I think that's the most feedback we actually get is, because at the moment there's a lot of travel apps and they want to use bloggers in different ways, because blogging is growing as a business. So everybody wants to do something with bloggers, but they're not sure what. And most companies don't understand that they are also professionals now. They are not just people who have a hobby and do it just for the fun of it. So then, like, for example, when I send out emails for bloggers, they might be like, I've seen that already. I've done that. It doesn't really, I'm not going to enjoy it. But I'm like, just give me 5 minutes. I'll show you. And then they're like, oh, this is something different. Like, they actually realize that it's easy to use. We've already done the work that they understand why we also get money from it. And that it's available mobile. Because for me, I don't do it personally. I don't do it for the money. I do it for visibility, because I get to do it under my own brand. And I do it because a lot of people, my readers and my friends, they're like, what is in Hong Kong? So like, I can say download my guide. So I think that's really interesting. And then also, now as I talk to brands, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But if I want to go to Germany, let's say, and I will conduct a tourism board in Germany, I will tell them I have this blog, but then I also write mobile travel guides. So I can do a mobile guide on your destination as well. And we have 100,000 users who can reach this mobile guide. So that's also something to add for your blogging, that brands get interested that you're doing something a bit different, a little extra. And but we've been getting a lot of bloggers and a lot of, especially brands, hotels around the world because they want to offer something extra for the customer. So it's working out quite well. And here's just some more of our current partners. I think in Finland, the biggest one that we have is Tallinn. They have destinations like Stockholm and Tallinn. And for Tallinn, they are doing actually a lot of different guides. So the idea is that it doesn't have to be a guide to Tallinn. It can be a guide to gluten-free restaurants in Tallinn. So it can be something really specific. And we're building a lot of different campaigns around with the companies. Like with Tallinn, what we're doing next is they're going to create travel books. And first, they're going to ask their customers what they want on like social media. We're going to ask, what would you like to know about Tallinn that you don't already know? And they can, for example, be like, well, I need gluten-free restaurants because I don't know any. And then they'll send out a gluten-free blogger to go to Tallinn and try those gluten-free restaurants. And then they will create a travel book around it. So there's different kind of campaigns we do around the travel books, and what the companies do. We send out press releases about, hey, we're working with Tallinn and things like that. And then we have the Finnish Rantavala. They haven't published their travel books yet, but we'll probably be doing for like major destinations for Finnish travelers. And yeah, then hotels, a lot of hotels. This is a brief history of the company. We started in January 2013. That was the day I had yet heard about it at all. It was founded, and then at the same year, December, it was founded by just one person, and the entire year was just by one person. And the first version was actually launched in New Zealand, so we didn't do anything in Finland at all. The reason is that New Zealand is quite fast, so if you really mess it up, nobody knows. And the other reason is that New Zealanders are really, they use a lot of apps, and they have a lot of iPhones, so it was the perfect place to start doing something like this. Then May 2014 was when I came on board. I'll tell you how that happened later. And then we launched a few countries, including the Philippines. It's also crazy, Philippines use maybe the most apps in the world. They're app crazy people, all kinds of games, everything. They'll try everything. And at the moment, we are the most popular actually in the Philippines. I think we have least users at the moment in Finland. And what was crazy is that we were a new app and got featured in how many countries? I think it was 9 countries of the 10 that we launched in. So that was pretty good in like the first week. Then we launched a bit more money and hoping to get a bit more, because at the moment we don't make any revenue at all. We have investors because they believe that we're doing something worth the money and that we will be making it a big business hopefully during next year. But at the moment we make no money at all, to be honest. We spend much more. And then this July was our big global launch, and then we launched in every country, and that's the reason why I jumped on board, so we can do publicity around it and get more bloggers and everything on board. And we became the top 10 travel app in over 70 countries the first week that we launched the app. So I think we did something right there. And at the moment, that's August, but at the moment we have around 200 or a bit more content creators, which are the bloggers and the businesses that I mentioned. And just recently we now have 100,000 users, and it's growing with thousands daily. So at the moment we surely have the right direction, which is good. But we're still in the phase of like developing everything. So we love hearing ideas of what would be the perfect travel app, because we're hoping to build exactly that. So a lot of new features coming. Still going back to this. It has these white round things. So we use a lot of social media because there's already so much content. We don't really need to build all that much more content. So all our photos at the moment, when you search for a destination, like a cafeteria in a destination, you will find photos people have tagged on Instagram. So they're actual material from real people, not like marketing material. So you'll see the reality, and also from Flickr when these sort of photos are not available. And all the venues, like let's say you go to Berlin and you want to find cafeterias. So you click on cafeterias and you'll find a list, and the list is in 4 square order, which usually is most used by local people. So you'll easily find the preferences of the local people, and you'll find interesting places to visit. And Facebook and Twitter, well, basically the idea is that you can share your trip then online. Like, hey, I'm going to Berlin. Do you guys have any tips for me? And then people can add like, hey, you gotta go here, you gotta go here, and then you'll add them to your trip plan. And the rest of these are something we want to use in the future. We've already been talking with TripAdvisor to work together with them somehow and see what happens. And companies like Uber or Airbnb. And they're just ideas, but Uber and TripAdvisor and Airbnb is hopefully happening at some point next year. Okay, now we talk about blogging. This is kind of the construction of how it's going to be. I'll tell you my story as a blogger, and then we talk about monetizing your blog. I have a traditional way. Blogging is maybe not a traditional way of earning money, but the more traditional way. And then my way, because I do it, I think, a bit differently. And just tips for successful blogging. And then we're going to watch a short video of a blogger friend of mine. So, like I told you, I was a student here. I started studying in 2011 January, and I came here because I just had a passion for tourism. I had no idea what I really want to do. I liked airplanes, so I was like, let's do aviation. I want to work at an airport or something like that. So I didn't really have I didn't come here with a direct plan. I came here with a passion. And before I got here, I started a travel blog called Running with Wild Horses. I started it for fun. So I pretty much shared like, hey, I'm having a cup of coffee this morning, it's nice. So it was just a nonsense blog for no reason at all. And when I started, I didn't even have Facebook. I was the person who arrived to this social media world much later than most. And most of you probably know WordPress and most likely use it as well. I didn't know I'm using WordPress until a year that I had already used it for a year. I had no idea it's WordPress, and I didn't know anything, seriously anything. And in my blog in 2010, I said I like to travel, so I want to study tourism. And hopefully I will get into this school. And I lived in Sweden during that time for no reason at all. Just I moved there one day because I was bored, honestly, no other reason. Then in January 2011, I came to the school, and I think I really found my place here. I mean, it still took a long. I had no expectation that I would be here doing this the day that I started, or even a few years after that. And my blog, I was talking a lot about studying here, the subjects that we do, and what I'm interested about, what kind of internship possibilities there are, and just we also traveled, like you're going to Berlin and things like this. So I talked about those and just my lifestyle. I lived in Gävle and whatever I did there. It's really embarrassing what I wrote back in 2011. Don't go and look at it. It's still there though. So what I really had is, I had a dream. I mean, I didn't have a specific dream, I just had a dream and a little passion. And the funny thing is, I had to take my own quote. This is my first sentence that I've ever written on a blog, which actually I didn't realize. Just before coming here, I checked my first blog post, and I thought that it's really embarrassing. But then it was quite interesting. My dream, I wrote that my dream is to start studying tourism. And in the future, I want to specialize in aviation and work for Finnair. And that soon I will see if this will happen. I had no idea. And then it's funny to realize that, yes, I came here to study tourism. I spent a semester in Hong Kong studying aviation. And I had my internship at Finnair, and now I do their blogging. So something went right in that sense, for sure. And a bit of a timeline of my travel blog and my career during my studies. I wanted to, because I realized I like aviation. There's something I want to do with airplanes. And actually years before I even decided to study tourism, I wanted to be a flight attendant, but I had an accident where I broke my spine and physically cannot do that anymore. But you get over things and find new dreams, maybe in the same field like I did. So I wanted to work at Helsinki airport. I knew that the day I got into this school. It took me a year to get a job there. I applied for cleaning, I applied for security, checking anything that was inside the airport. And I think, I don't even know how many applications I sent, but I was going to know it. But then I think it was 2012, when somebody called me that from a company called Airpro, that would you like to come for an interview for a security job at the airport? And I was just bouncing around like, I'm so happy that finally something is going to happen. Security is maybe not the most exciting job, but then I got my foot in the door of the airport. So I went to the interview, and what they told me is that you get the job. So they told me right away, so I was really excited. And the difficult thing is that I lived in Gävle, and I worked at the airport, and I don't have a car, and I'm not going to get a car. So what I did, and when you work at an airport, you work strange hours. So what I did is, I usually started my shift at 5 a.m. So I had to walk from Kevätkumpu to the city at 2 a.m. for very many nights. And then I was at the airport around 4 a.m. And I still had an hour before my shift, but that was the only bus that I could take to be there. And I usually had a 12-hour shift. And there's usually a 3-hour break. And most people go home. But obviously I don't come back to Kevätkumpu for 3 hours. So I dressed up as a passenger, went to the gate and did homework. So I knew I wanted this, and it was worth the pain. And actually it was quite an interesting job too. And the next dream that I had is that I want to go on a student exchange in Hong Kong, no other place. And I knew it was a bit difficult because there's not so many places in Asia. And I applied, and I got in, and I was really happy. And what happened with my travel blog then is, well, the point of the Helsinki airport job, by the way, is that then my blog was also focusing on aviation. And I got a lot of people asking me who were interested in the same field, but hey, how can I get that job too? And now it's really funny that I might receive an email like, thanks for the tips that you shared on your blog. I now work in the security and I love it. So it's really, I like that. I like getting emails like this. But then I got to Hong Kong to study aviation a bit more. And that's when my blog, because I didn't have a focus. I had a travel blog, just a general travel blog. And the focus was more about Asia when I was there. So, because I traveled to places like Taiwan, Malaysia. and things like that. So of course I wanted to write about it, and still my blog was just a hobby. But then during my time in Hong Kong, someone sent me an email that you're in the top 5 of becoming the best Asia blog in Finland. I'm like, what's that? I have no idea. And then I got the award as the best Asia blog in Finland, and the award is actually to publish the blog as a book, and I thought it would already have happened, but I am really busy, so it's still waiting to be done. But that's when I realized that this is something that I can take a bit more seriously, and maybe I can build my career around it. So after getting this award, I started getting more contacts from companies like, hey, I'm a tourism board from Singapore. We would like to invite you to come to Singapore. I was like, why would you invite me there? It was really weird at first. And just, of course, I went to all the trips that were possible. And after that, I ended up becoming a quality hunter. You probably know about quality hunters, right? No? Yes. So Finnair had a project where they had, it was first a competition where people from tourism industry or people who fly a lot can apply to, and they would send them around the world to do kind of like mystery shopping for the airline. And then suddenly I didn't apply, but they sent me a tweet because I use Twitter for more like a personal brand. I'll also tell more about it shortly. So I got an email from, or like a tweet message from Finnair asking if I want to be a quality hunter. I'm like, me? Why? What is that? And then I joined their airport team because I had worked at an airport for a year, and in Hong Kong I studied airport management. So I was, and I had a travel blog, so they would invite me. And then I realized that my career is going to be all about blogging, aviation, and Asia. So I was fine with that. And then it was the time to apply for an internship, and I still had this dream to work for Finnair, so I applied for Finnair, and people had told me that the thing with Finnair is that if you send an application, because they have this general page, and just don't do it, it's a waste of time, because it took me a few hours to make it, but I had 2 phone calls the next hour. So the thing is that the reason was because I had already branded myself during my studies, so I wasn't just a student of tourism, I was a professional of aviation, Asia, and social media. So they called me in the first hour to ask me for 2 interviews. I went to both and got to pick which one I wanted. And I spent 5 months in their head office for Finnair Plus, their program for their marketing management. And yeah, that taught me a lot because that's pretty much what I do now, but just for creatrix. And from that, I, of course, networked with the people in the office, and I met a person called Aku Varamäki. She was the social media manager for Finnair, and she knew I'm a travel blogger too. So she's like, oh, we have this blog, but we don't have the time for it. Maybe we could do something. And I'm like, that could be my dream, to have a travel blog for Finnair. So now I write about their Asian destinations and get to travel to those places. So it's all about building your brand during the time you study, not after it.
Anu doesn't work anymore for Finnair, does she?
No, she quit to do her own.
How many people now? Is it only you writing?
There is a few from the crew, so it's mostly cabin crew writing, and Nella from Kaupakaitu blog. Somebody probably knows her, so she's writing now as well. So there's 2 people outside the company, sort of. Everyone else is the crew. And then there was this guy from, I forgot his name, from a band. A guy from a band. Somebody might know if they read it from your blog.
I've seen
Anyway.
them, yeah.
But he doesn't write anymore so much. Monetizing your blog. This is something I thought I'll never ever do, because I'm a person who doesn't really like money because it's numbers, and I don't go well with numbers, which is not a good thing. I've had a lot of problems in life with not getting along with numbers. But yeah. So I have written down, I think it's 5 different points on how to possibly earn money from blogging. And after that, I will talk about the different way that I did it. First is advertising. I think this is the most common way that people earn money from their blogs. They put little ads in their blog, but personally, I'm all about layouts and design, which you can't see at the moment from the blog. I'm sorry about that. But that's really important to me. So I don't like ads. I mean, I understand that if you want to completely make your living out of blogging, you might have to add those ads. But I don't want to do that. Most people might use Google AdSense, which you can sign up to going on their website. Most people don't make so much money unless they have a massive audience. So then you might have a random, like my blog is still under Rantapallo, and I don't get any money from the advertisements that are on my blog, and I have no say in it either. They're often tourism advertisements, but this one time there was do you know the cat food brand Friskies?
Mm-hmm.
So there was this yellow board around my blog and a cat going meow. So that's when I realized this is not okay, because even though the content is still there, you don't want to grow cats around in a yellow platform going around your blog unless you have a cat blog. I don't have that. So yeah, if you have advertisements, it's better that they are your own and you actually get paid for them. And if you go to advertisement, I suggest you do direct advertising with companies. Like I could do with Visit Singapore, for example, because people who come to my blog are interested in destinations in Asia, not cat food. Might be, but most likely not. At least they don't come from my page to look for cat food. So it's more unlikely that they will click on it either. But if they want to already search information about Singapore, of course they might click on the Visit Singapore. And when it's more about your brand, it doesn't look that bad. So my suggestion always is to forget Google AdSense. That's just mine. Somebody might be like, you're totally wrong, because that's where I make all my income from. Don't say that, but I still say that. So when you do direct advertising, make sure it's under your niche. So I wouldn't do Visit Germany, for example. It's still travel, but it's not what I do. I mean, I do go to Germany and I like it, but it's still outside of my actual brand. And if you do that, usually that's done by either contacting those companies directly, but most bloggers have advertise with me page. So if you do professional blogging, I suggest you almost have to have a page like this. So this is where companies like Visit Singapore can contact you asking if you want to do this advertisement. And I have a page like that. And companies, they can be really random, like a casino company. Like this online casino company wrote me like, can we have an advertisement on your blog? We'll pay you 50 euros once for that. Why would I say yes? I mean, 50 euros is a little bit of money, but casino, I don't even get that world. So I said no. So you will get strange emails when you have pages like this, but it's important not to sell yourself just for the money when you're blogging, because there are a lot of bloggers who just do, I got this for free. It's great. This yogurt is so yummy. Which is okay if you have like a food blog or something like that, but you still need to know your audience. And the thing that I do most when it comes to advertising is product advertising. This is mostly with things like, well, hotels. I get invitations to visit hotels, stay there for the night and write about it. And I say yes, because that's people in my blog are interested about hotel reviews, especially in Asian destinations, but I do a lot even in Helsinki. And in there, I might have their advertisement on my like the side or something, or we can talk a bit more about affiliate marketing. So I might have a direct link for their website, and I might get a little bit of revenue if people go on their website or if they book a hotel. So I think this is, personally for me, this is the best way to do more advertising, and it's not so in your face obvious, and it's not in every blog post, maybe every 10th, if I would have to give a number. So this is interesting. This is not something you can do the day you start your travel or whatever blog that you have, but consulting, because that could have been the first thing, but become an expert in your niche. And the greatest thing is to have a niche. So like you write about books. There's not so many people who have a book blog, at least I don't know of, but you have a niche. Like it's not just a blog. So it's really something I had to really learn during these years, because I started as just having a travel blog and writing about everything that I wanted to. I mean, I still write about what I want to, but it's really, if you want to do it professionally, find your niche. As an example, a friend of mine, she's in a wheelchair, and she was thinking of starting a travel blog. She did it 3 weeks ago. She started a travel blog in English, which is even a lot harder because there's so many doing that. So she started, I think it's called Wheels on the Beach. It took 3 weeks, and it's her job now. That doesn't happen to anyone, honestly. But she had such a specific niche, but nobody writes about, and there was a need for that. So now she's traveling everywhere with her wheelchair, and she's even doing like freelance tour guiding for people in wheelchairs. So she's going to actually Berlin, I think, next week as a freelance tour guide, giving people in wheelchairs trips around Berlin. So she has a specific niche, and that works. And when you're an expert in your niche, you can talk about it. Like, I made myself an expert in my niche, blogging, anything. So I get invited to places to go and speak about it and to help someone. I get a lot of emails of, I want to start a blog. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do the website. And I find it weird that I can give them advice on that, because when I started, I didn't know what WordPress is for a year when I was already using it. And now I can be like, hey, I'm an expert in WordPress. Let me help you. Sorry. Yeah, and also the social media is a really interesting world, because we all use it too much. And there's still, if you now become an expert in social media, there are so many jobs available for you, because the people in marketing who have an education from 15 years ago, they are not at all professionals in social media, even though they're professionals in marketing. Like when I started working, doing my internship for Finne, everyone was a professional in marketing. They had like a master's degree at least, and I had half a tourism degree. So I should have been the one. I mean, I learned from them, but in the end, they learned from me about social media marketing, because I had done it for my own blog, not because I had a master's degree in social media management. So that's really something. It's still new, and there's a great possibility for a career in everything that comes to social media at the moment. And yeah, when you have mastered, because what I did, I had to learn everything from, like, I think I lost half of my hair doing that, because I wanted my blog to look pretty, and I had nobody to help me. So I was just Googling HTML code for this purpose, and I didn't know I still don't know where the letters actually come from. Does anyone know? I don't know, never mind. But I don't know the world of coding in that sense, but I find a way, because I have had to, because I wanted to have something on the side better or whatever like that. So I found a way. And now somebody's asking me, how do I do this? I'm like, I'll give you this code, just put it there. And you can actually find a way to make an income from that, because now a lot of bloggers do like branding for new bloggers, and like they set up everything for you. So I have a blogger friend who makes all of her income from consulting new bloggers. So she asked for, I think it's a bit more than 1,000 euros to build their website, do the entire design, brand it, and brand their social media. And then they have everything set up. And they might even start helping you to build it in the first month or so. So that's a great way to help new people and to make an income on the side. And on this idea, of course, about the branding and the design. So yes, please become an expert in your niche and help others. And not always for money, also just to be nice. This is not only for travel bloggers, but mainly because it's called blog trips, but this is important to me. So, I mean, there are a lot of lifestyle bloggers that are invited to blog trips, not only travel bloggers or food bloggers if it's a food trip. So, my blog trips, I think, half and half come from the fact that I get an email, just an invitation, but also I just sent an email to a company in, I don't speak German, Rüdesheim, a wine area in Germany, because I want to go there. I like wine. And we're doing a cooperation just because I sent them an email. So it's good that you also contact these companies. Like, for me, it was first weird to contact companies. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have a profession in this. It's like, why would they give me free trips? But that's not really how it is. It's not a free, I mean, it's a free trip, but it's a job. And now actually more and more companies have realized that it is a job for us. We need to pay rent most likely as well. And they actually pay for you to go there. They'll pay your trip, but they will pay you money because you will provide them content. and that's really valuable for them. So, and the most important thing is that if you get an email, you can actually ask to get paid. Because I also know a lot of people from like destination management companies, and they must say that we will pay you this money if you come to our destination. But then there's bloggers like saying that I will not come unless you pay me 100 euros per day, or I will not come if you don't pay me 1,000 euros per day, which is sort of crazy. But I know a blogger who is like that. And she makes a pretty good income, obviously, from that. But because bloggers are more and more thought as a professional, not a person with a hobby. So that's why it makes sense to pay for them to come to your destination as well. And then if you do that, it's good to have a deal. Like you can have a deal of, okay, because we're paying you this money and you're coming on this trip, you will write 3 blog posts, but you get to decide the topic and you still get to be honest. So you need to have a clear structure of what you're going to give them for what they're providing you, as you would be as a professional. And what else you can do to earn money from blog trips is, I'm not a professional photographer, but I have learned a lot during the last 4 years. So I might just say, because usually on a blog trip, it's not just one organization. It can be restaurants, some more local tour companies that are working together. So I will tell them that after my trip, I will put my photographs on Flickr or a Dropbox or whatever. And if you need something, you can come to me and we can discuss a price. Of course, I will not ask them for as much as a professional photographer would. But if they find something valuable, I will be like 50 euros until you'll get it, or things like that. And also, see a lot of companies have no idea about the world of social media. So what I sometimes do, if I see that they have like 1 follower on Twitter and they tweeted a year ago, so I will be like, do you want any help? If I have the time, I might offer them help with their social media and build a bigger project around the trip. And that's a really good thing, and most companies are really interested in working in the social media part for them. And please, anytime you have a question, I have a problem with talking too quickly, so you can always stop me.
We have 40 more minutes.
Yeah, I have enough time. Affiliate marketing is also something that I don't do much. And now, as I'm not a student here, I get to use Wikipedia. Don't tell anyone. This is to explain what affiliate marketing is. Probably you already know. But how it works for me is, like I mentioned, the hotels that I might visit. In Hong Kong, there's a hotel called Hotel Icon. And I visited their hotel. And they have their own, because there are companies like Trade Doubler and Trade Tracker who are affiliate marketing companies. You can sign up on their website and just have different affiliate ways of earning. But it's better to work directly with the company. So I went to visit Hotel Icon and I did a review about the hotel and I really loved it. And in there it's just like, if you're going to Hong Kong and are interested in this hotel, you can make the booking using this link. And as they use that link and make the booking, I get 10% of each booking that comes from my site. It doesn't have to be, there's not a lot of bookings, but even one booking will probably give me 100 euros almost, because it's a 5-star hotel, so it's not cheap. And when it's direct, there's nobody taking money from in between. Then I think that's the perfect way of doing blog marketing. So if you're interested in affiliate marketing, do consider doing it directly with companies. And you don't always have to do it directly with a hotel. There's like Agoda, which is a place where you can book hotels. They also have their own affiliate program, which is quite rewardable, but the most rewardable is always doing it directly with the hotel if they are willing to do an affiliate program.
Okay, Anastasia is not here, but Anastasia has a book blog, and I think I mentioned to her, for instance, Amazon has a very good affiliate program.
Yes, I do.
So she can make a review of the top 10 books
Yes.
or of that decade,
Yes.
and then with the links there, if somebody clicks on her article and is directed to buy that book in Amazon, and somebody goes to purchase the book, she can get some income for that.
Yeah, I think in that sense, it's a perfect way to do affiliate marketing. A lot of bloggers actually use Amazon, or even a lot of travel bloggers use Amazon in affiliate marketing. So for books, I think it's perfect. At least it's perfect. And even if you review just one book. Just get a link.
Yeah.
You can buy it from here.
Yeah.
It's a great way to. 5, sell your own products. When you have built your brand online, and you have like, I have readers who know that I know big cities in Asia, then they trust me because they've been there for maybe 4 years. Then I could do an ebook about food guide to Hong Kong, for example, and put 15 euros as a price. And a lot of bloggers do that. A lot of bloggers do ebooks, and people do still buy them. So, and they're really easy to make because you can just pretty much do it anywhere possible. I would do it as pretty PDFs, put nice pictures and nice stories around it. And if the information is worth value, like as there are more and more bloggers coming up, people are interested in how to start a blog and how does this person. Most people are interested, how can you afford to travel so much? And especially travel bloggers who do nothing but travel like constantly. I don't do that. I still have a home, at least for now. So like a friend of mine called Brooke from World of Wanderlust, somebody might know her. She's a professional travel blogger, and she has an ebook, The Story of World of Wanderlust, because everybody wants to know how on earth she lives in 5-star hotels, and she's a 23-year-old girl. How can she afford that? Is she a millionaire? No, she worked for it. So that's the story of how it happened. And I think the price is maybe also 50 euros. And she's already done it, so it's passive income in the end. Then some bloggers do is they start their own online store. I don't have that. I could maybe sell trips or something like that. But for example, there is a food blogger it was called The Blonde Vegan, but now it's called The Balanced Blonde, I think. So her readers are vegans or people who are really conscious about healthy eating. She has these awesome t-shirts now. So she has a t-shirt store on her blog. I even actually posted this one because it was really funny because it said tofu kale wine or something like that. So it goes with her brand perfectly, and somehow they're very ecologically friendly and just what her audience would want. So she makes a great income from selling t-shirts. And also, like I mentioned, photography. When you learn to take photos, especially if you're really good at that, you can have, some bloggers have like buy my photographs, like did you like this? You can buy it from here. And you can either have a direct way of doing it or have an email and let's discuss more to agree on a price. Or then you can sell services. Some bloggers do this that, let's say I would move to Chiang Mai in North Thailand. And people are like, oh, that's cool, she moved to Chiang Mai, I want to go there, what should I do there? And they could email me like, I want to spend a day with you in Chiang Mai. I want to see what's best in there. And then I would be their tour guide, but because they might want to go off the path in Chiang Mai, so they would come with me, not a tour guide. So then I could earn a little income from that as well, and some bloggers do that. And I had one blogger who was going to Hong Kong, and she asked if I would be around in Hong Kong during that time that she would like to pay me for spend a day to see what I love about the city. Sadly, I won't be there, so I have to say no. Then monetize your blog, because I don't do it directly. I don't do the advertisement so much. So my way, what it is personal branding. I had no idea what that is before I was already doing it. So everything for me came as a surprise, and I learned from my mistakes, and now you don't have to make them. The most important thing, I like quotes. I'm sorry, I just like them. They're so nice and inspired. So you gotta be yourself. You might be inspired. I'm inspired by a lot of bloggers. I'm like, that's cool. I could do something like that. I got a great idea. But just find that your own thing. Find your own passion and do that. Even if you try for 4 years, everything that is it. Personal branding. So think of yourself as a brand. I mean, life is not all about work, but if you build a really nice brand around yourself, you don't even have to make such a difference in play and work. So what do you want to be? If you're a brand, you can think, okay, I want to be an airplane. Well, maybe I should do something with that. So for me, I will tell you about my brand, which maybe is already clear to you. But just try to find a new way of thinking. What would you be if you were to be a brand, not just a person with a degree in tourism, for example? What's more? You have something more. And at the moment, I think for me, the best thing that I did was my presence in social media. I do have a following on social media, not the biggest in the world, not even close, but enough to be known in my area. And I think that the fact that I started Twitter when I was studying, I made an effort to have a LinkedIn profile, which if you don't have LinkedIn profile, please do it today. Please. I think it's interesting because Finland comes sort of 2 years behind in most things. So when you see like, you live abroad, you see everyone's here like using LinkedIn, and in Finland, like nobody needs it. But if you put a link on your LinkedIn for your CV, people will click, go and see it, and they will be interested to see your connections and what else have you done. It's really a great place to network, and it's growing. So be there now. Personal website. You don't have to be a blogger. You can be a blogger, but for example, now after years, I've been thinking of starting my professional. Like I use the name Veera Bianca online, so I could have a veerabianca.com, which is not my blog, but my site to tell what I am. So if I want to do freelance work, like here's a link to my website, which is kind of like the portfolio of what you do and what's your profession. So that's a great idea if you don't want to start a blog but still have an online presence, because nowadays we have like professional Instagrammers and everything, so it's not always necessary to have a blog to build an online brand. You can have just be present in social media in a brand way. And the most important thing is to network. What I did during my studies here, not after, during, and still after too, but during my studies, is I networked. When I graduated, I had a great network. I didn't have to be like, okay, now I graduated, what do I want to do? Now I will start. You have to start already. So I was building my network. And the best example is after my first year of studies, one teacher in the school asked me if I want to do a separate project from everyone else during the next 6 months. So I was building a tour package for an actual company to India while the group was doing like just a project, just to learn. Well, I mean, I was doing the same thing, but in a bit different way. And then in the end, that company wanted me to do more freelance work for them and to do their social media. So it was a way to kind of make the network grow, sort of snowball. So, and here when you have projects with tourism students probably have some projects with some companies such as Finnair or Aurinkomatkat, and there will come people from that company will be here. They might just do a lecture, but just try to stay in their minds. Don't just think that, okay, cool, interesting, that too, but if you can find a way, maybe send them an email like, thank you for your presentation, that was really interesting. I have a question about this, and then they will remember you. Like, there is this one woman from Finnair when I was studying here. She came to teach us about e-tickets, a really confusing world of e-tickets. And I had a lot of questions because I worked at the airport, so I wanted to know every detail. And then when I went to work for Finnair, I had a coffee break, and she's like, "Oh, I remember you. You were in my lecture." And then we discussed and all these kind of small things that happen in the world, or if you get to go to an event like a travel fair. Travel fairs are a great example for that. No, not good. Like.
Water?
Huh?
Water?
Thank you. Drink a lot of water. So travel fairs, or whatever fairs from your industry, but I only know the travel fairs. Like we went to ITB. We went there as students, but you don't have to just walk around and be like, yeah, I'm a student just watching what's going on. Cool. You can actually print out a business card of yourself. You can already brand it like, yeah, I'm a social media expert or whatever you think that you're good at, and go and talk to them and like, hey, just here's my card, just in case. It's no harm. So I suggest doing things like that. Like think of yourself as a professional, not a student, when you attend fairs like that, and do attend them and go talk to people. Offer value. Well, the most important thing is that whoever is your audience, you gotta know your audience, but you have to offer value for them. If you write because you enjoy it, but when you get to know who receives whatever you write, you want to offer them some value. So if I write about a nice day in Hong Kong and put a pretty picture of Hong Kong, but that's just a nice day. But if I put like top 5 restaurants to visit in Hong Kong, and this is the metro you take to go there, that's direct value for the reader. So if you find a way to offer value, always try to think how you can do that. And the next thing, a quote again. It's not what you do, but why you do it. There is actually, if you have time, go to YouTube, put that text. There's a really interesting video when it comes to marketing. If you find it's a new way of thinking, most people is like, okay, I have this, for example, I have this travel app because I want to make money and I have a travel app. But we try to think from, we have a travel app because my boss went to Bangkok and had a problem of finding his way to where he was going. So there was a why more than a what. That's something that Apple does really well because they are leading the market and their phones are not any better than any other companies. They're just phones. But I know I use this. I have like all the Apple products and I would never touch anything else. But that is because they branded themselves in that way. They had a why, not a what. But there's a really good video. It sounds confusing. But if you watch the video, I think it's like 20 minutes. It's worth it. And that might make you think what could be your story. So, this is most likely already obvious to you. So, I could call myself a Bachelor of Hospitality Management, because that's what I am. But so will most of you be. So if I can call myself an airport expert, or an Asia expert, or social media, or a storyteller, it brings more value and it brings a little bit more. Most likely, there will not be anyone in this room who can say, I am these things too. So then I have my own brand, and there are companies who need an airport expert, like Finnair needed a quality hunter who knows airports. So they contacted me. So you need to think about, you don't have to know it, you don't have to have a clear vision when you study of, okay, I don't know what I want, I don't know. I will feel like that too. It's normal, but it will come. You're like, oh, cool, I work at an airport, this works. Like, I like it. I now feel that I know this field. And then you can build your profession around it. Don't be like, yeah, I worked, that was cool. It's like, you're an airport expert, not just an employee. You're an expert in this field. And it can be any field. And then a little bit about social media again. Just to show you, LinkedIn, like I mentioned, be there now. If you're not there, do it today. Find time. My friends have been getting, because I forced them all to use LinkedIn, they've been getting job offers directly from LinkedIn without searching for a job. Not from Finland, but from abroad. For example, I have a friend who studied aviation with me in Hong Kong, and he wants to do a master's degree in the United States, but it's really expensive. And he hasn't done anything else than started a LinkedIn and to describe there what he is an expert of, and that he has this degree and he has this dream of doing this in the future. So a company, a school in the United States sent him a message on LinkedIn like, hey, we would like to discuss about offering you a scholarship to study a master's in our school. Can we have a Skype call? And they had, and now he has a scholarship to go to the United States to do a master's degree in his field. So you never know the opportunities that can come with it. But it's not like if you start LinkedIn today, like, oh, nobody contacted me, this is for nothing. You never know, but it's worth a try. And for me, I try to network on LinkedIn and grow my network there all the time. I think it's becoming more important to me than Facebook, or I'm just getting on it. Then we have Twitter. For me, it was really difficult to know what to do on Twitter, because I had a friend who was doing Twitter really good, but she's a musician, so she was like, oh, this band is great, I love music. I'm like, so what do I do there? I don't care about music or anything like that, or anything like fashion, or it's not my field. So it took me a while to realize why I am on Twitter, but I was then I realized my industry is in Twitter. People from my industry, marketing professionals, they will be on Twitter. You can tweet them like, hey, you had a great speech there the other day, or nice necklace, anything. Just network, grow those contacts. And yeah, and for me, like, it is my personal, but my professional, because I've tried to make myself a brand. So I use my own name, not my Wanderlust expert name, pretty much everywhere. And on Twitter, like for example, I got into Quality Hunters because I had a tweet, and they realized I tweet about Europe. I don't really make an effort, to be honest, on Twitter. I just hang around there, and sometimes I talk to people. You never know. People will find you, and they'll be, and also companies like try to connect with Aurinkomatka. They might post a nice picture of Mallorca, and you'd be like, oh, what a pretty destination. I'm really curious about that. And if you have a blog, you can read my blog post about Mallorca. And then you get to grow that contact with the company, which is a very good thing. Then you might have your online brand. This, nobody has seen. So, story about what happened to my blog last week. So I have been writing it for, I think, 4 years. And what happened very recently is that I went to my blog, realized every single photo is gone. Every single one of thousands. And I realized somebody has hacked my Flickr account, because I use Flickr to put photos on my blog, because it makes it better quality usually. So now I have the situation that all the work that I've done with the photos, they're gone. And there's nothing I can do about it other than just do it again. So you gotta be careful in the world of online business, because things like, I mean, I haven't heard of any blogger who has had this happen, but anything can happen, because things that are online, it was a big struggle, but I try to find positive, because I've been trying to move my blog from Rantapallo, because I don't find that I have enough value from it at the moment. So this is how my blog will be as soon as hopefully next month. So I have tried to kind of rebrand it and everything. So it gave me motivation to do things a bit differently. Again, though it's still an awful thing, and I am in trouble of how to fix that. But you need to be careful in the world of online marketing and everything, because this also now affects Spinner blog and our creatrix blog. So it's just not my personal blog, it's the work that I've done for years. It's gone. Sorry. But yeah, then you grow from it and find a new way of doing things from the time. How did I turn this into money then? Okay, so turning online brand like a blog or your website, make it your portfolio of what you've done. Make it like something between LinkedIn and Facebook. It's personal, but it's still your brand. And because of my blog and my LinkedIn and everything, I get a lot of freelance job offers from companies like, basically it's online travel journalism mostly, or my network who are in the business. And then I get a little bit of money from doing that. So, and that's just a growing thing, like online, whatever field of industry you're in, people are writing content online. So it's a great opportunity to get freelance things. And they're not always about writing, they can be like social media, like I mentioned. Some company might contact me if I could do their social media and help them get started, or do a strategy for them, and they'll pay me a certain amount of money to do that. Blog corporations, I guess I'll talk about that a little bit. So, like for example, I worked with Visit Finland. They flew me to Vasa, and I just traveled in Vasa. But they actually paid for me to provide that content, so I make money out of that rather than direct, like Google AdSense and things like that. And in the end, the dream job that I have with creatrix, because during my studies I realized I'm into marketing, and also I already knew that I like travel apps, but I wasn't making myself a travel app professional or anything like that. But I got my job through a hashtag on Instagram. So it's not the things you planned, like, okay, I will get this school and then I'll put a nice photo on Instagram and get a job. It's not what you planned, but it might happen. So in Finland, we have a campaign called Instagram Travel Thursday. Maybe somebody knows about it, I don't know. Yeah, and I used that hashtag, and the founder of creatrix saw that and contacted me just to meet and do a blog cooperation. They sent me to Shanghai. When I came back, they wanted me to be the marketing manager. So you never know what happens. It can even come from a hashtag on Instagram.
But you have to be active. That's
it's not that I just came on Instagram today and put a nice picture. It was all the work that I had done before that led to that moment. Absolutely. And I actually talked about travel books already, that you can also, if you're interested, to get on board and create, send me an email. And yes.
Are you like checking all the travel books, or?
Yes. At the moment,
how does it work?
it works that you can publish, like if you would we have a sign-up form, or you can send me a direct email that I want to do this because I have lived abroad or that I have a passion for travel for any reason.
Yeah.
And I will create you the credentials
Yeah.
to do it. And then you get to do it and you publish it. You don't have to ask me, even it can be anything you want, but I do go through them. So if there's something really illegal or something like that, I will remove it. And I hope there will always be, I want to be our quality manager to make sure there's nothing really, really bad, like, you know, something illegal. Or we want to try to, that's because the idea is that anyone can do travel books, but we need to monitor them. So that's why at the moment they have to come through me first, and then I will check them once they're published. So just my 5 tips to almost sum everything up. Find your niche. Find it. It can be anything, and it might take time to find it. It might even change during the time, but do your best to have a niche. Post frequently. It doesn't mean you have to post every day, and it doesn't mean you have to have a schedule. I post every Friday at 6 o'clock if it works for you, but it doesn't work for me, so I don't do it. I try to post at the moment only twice a week, and after the photo drama that I just explained, I at the moment can't do that. But just, it can be once a week, it can be every day, it can be every second day, but just try to keep the flow. Don't do like 5 posts next week and then have a month and then do 1 more, because your readers will learn the cycle. They'll be like, okay, she posts every week, so I'll check her blog every week. But if they realize that she doesn't post anymore, they'll forget you perhaps, in the worst case. So find a schedule somewhat. And like I said, build a presence on social media. If you have a blog, it's not only about the blog. It's almost more important to build the social media brand around it at the moment. And whatever you do, seriously do it with passion. It might sound like really cliche, but I take it seriously. I don't do anything if I don't have a passion for it. And focus on quality. If you write a blog post, read it through just to make sure. Because if I go back to my old post, it's like, why didn't you even try? And make like good quality photos. You don't need to be professional, but you can focus on quality. I mean, still in your photos, even though if you're not professional. So in everything you do, make sure it is of quality. And little extra, we're actually looking for an intern. And I hope it's okay that I mention it here. I think you read it already. With the travel books, we have these companies like Hilton Hotels and everything who want us to help them create these travel books. So from January on, we're looking for 1 intern to help us with that. So it will most likely be about writing travel guides for this brand and explain them a little bit on how to market that in social media. So there is destination marketing, content creation, and also travel blogging, because we have a travel blog and I don't always have the time to update it. And this will be in Helsinki. And from January on. So if you're interested, I'm not sure if you've all done your internships or not.
Not yet.
You can just send me an email to the address. And it can be 2, 3, or 5 months. We prefer 5, but depends. If you have the right qualities, we might just went 2, and then it was less time. And I actually had a video. Show you, do you think we have time for 4 minutes?
Yes.
This is kind of the same things that we discussed about, but I have a friend called Mark, who is a professional photographer. I don't know if anyone here knows it, but he's very well known in what he does. So he was just
Niin, ammattikoulu opiskeli itse autoasiakkaaksi ja koulun jälkeen.
Mark meets here in Honolulu, Hawaii. The number 1 question I get asked is, Mark, how do you make money? How can you afford to travel around the world and eat? So I'm going to share that in this upcoming video and also share how I think you can do it too. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different ways that you could make money while you travel. I have friends that are doing everything from working on cruise ships, graphic designers, website designers, bloggers on niche subjects, affiliate marketers, even people doing scuba diving and skydiving and making a living while traveling around the world. You probably see me most of the time traveling from place to place and eating delicious feasts. But I did not win the lottery. I don't have an endless bank account. And the truth of the matter is that I do a lot of work when I travel.
He has a great
but I can all do it all from my laptop online. Sometimes I work even 10 or 12 or 15 hours per day writing, video editing. I'm just so grateful that I'm able to do it wherever I am, as long as I have an internet connection and my laptop. Also, it's worth mentioning that all of the ways in which I make money are possible because I started a travel food blog back in 2009, and I have committed and stuck to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And just so you know, everything I talk about and mentioned in this video will all be listed below in the description box, so be sure to click below there to get all the links and more details. Okay, number one is affiliate marketing on my websites. And what that means is earning a small percentage of money as a referral. So basically, as an example, you've seen on my Bangkok travel resources page listed below, I give away a lot of free, useful information about traveling and visiting Bangkok. But also, I recommend some hotels which I've personally stayed at, and also which I think are great hotels. So if you were to click on one of those links to the hotel and then book a hotel, I would get a small percentage of money from that booking. But really, it's a win-win situation because it is my personal recommendation, and you get a great deal on a hotel. The key to affiliate marketing is that I only recommend things that I personally have used or that I personally trust. Number two is by selling my premium travel and food ebooks. And right now I have 4 different guides: the 101 things to do in Bangkok, the eating Thai food guide, the vegetarian Thai food guide, and the Delhi travel guide. I prefer to sell my own products as opposed to doing advertising because I can guarantee, stand behind, and trust the quality of my own guides. My travel guides makes up for one of the largest percentages of my monthly income. Number 3 is through freelance writing and freelance projects, which is all possible through the blog. Before I started blogging when I was in school, I hated both reading and writing. Once I committed myself to writing a blog, I actually figured out that when I wrote about something that I really enjoyed, such as food, I actually loved it. So a blog is not only an incredible resource for sharing ideas and useful tips and entertainment, but it's also a great way to have a public profile to show your expertise on a certain subject. Through migrationology.com, I've had numerous opportunities to freelance write for places like CNN Travel, Phuket Gazette, many different websites, newspapers, and magazines. But it was all a result of having a blog in the first place. One thing I would...
That's about it then.
So, and yeah, me and creatrix would appreciate if you will follow us on everywhere in social media with the names Veera Papinoja and creatrix to see what we're doing. We, as in me and the company. And yeah, thank you. That is about it. If you still have questions, I'll wait here for a while, or you can ask now and come talk to me, or even send me an email if you can see that email.
A big applause.
Thank you.
Vera. Does anyone have any questions for Veera?
About your personal channels, do you use Finnish or English, or if you write mostly in Finnish?
That's the most difficult thing for me, because I'm more comfortable doing this in English, and on everywhere else but my blog, I have branded myself as a person who speaks English, but my travel blog is in Finnish. And for years I've been thinking if I should change it, but then again, because even just the language, Finnish as a language is almost a niche. If I write in Finnish, there is a lot of travel bloggers, but not as many as if I would write in English. I would have to have a niche much more specific. So I think if I would change to English, my blog wouldn't be called an award-winning blog. It would just be a travel blog among travel blogs. Yeah, unless I had like countless of hours to really make an effort. So there's no right answer, but for me it works that I do everything else in Finnish. In English, but I still have my personal travel blog in Finnish. But sometimes it's hard because like on Twitter, I want to share my posts, and then I have to share them in Finnish. And then my followers who speak English be like, what's this language? But there is no actual solution for that, unfortunately. But I would still do it the way that I would brand. I find it to be right way for me to use English because my industry is so global. But as I have a Finnish travel blog, there's no right answer. That's something, if you go to travel fairs, people talk about. Most English-speaking people are jealous of me because I have such a specific language to write. To use Finnish, it's so specific that I can have that almost as a niche. So there's no right answer, but at least when you use LinkedIn or things like that, to do it in English because you're most likely in an international field of business, so then you can grow your online. Because my online brand is not just blog, it's Asia and it's aviation and it's social media. So then I can just tell, I have a Finnish blog, but then these channels are English. So that's what I do, and I'm gonna keep doing that. I hope that answered you at all. Anyone else? Questions?
Which things are most commented on your blog?
Sorry? Things.
Which things?
First.
Like hotels,
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
in hotels, restaurants, things like that.
I think the way that I write has changed a lot because, like, say, I would have gone to a trip. I would write like, my first day in Hong Kong is really nice. But now what I would do is 5 things you have to see in Hong Kong. And I think people are, to be honest, they're getting lazy. They want to read this. They want to experience more. When they read, they want to have an experience more than just read. So if I write 5 essential things to do in Hong Kong, they will be more interested in that than my first day in Hong Kong, because that will provide them more value if they're going to this destination. So what gets more comments is always lists of things. If I have 10 things on my bucket list, 10 things to do in Tokyo, they will be the most commented posts and always the most popular as well. But then also, because it's a travel blog, so I rarely write, I do it from my personal point of view, but if I would write something really personal, like I told you I had a really bad accident, if I would write about that, I would get a lot of comments because people are like, oh God, it's horrible. So if they can reflect to something that happened to me, those are also very commented. But as it has changed to be more professional, I don't do that as much. So at the moment, definitely lists of things. And some hotel reviews. It's really interesting because, like, I wrote a hotel review on a hotel in Helsinki, Soko's original hotel. I stayed in a suite for 1 night or 2, and just from my opinion, that was really popular. And I was staying with Hilton Helsinki Airport. And then I went to Turku and stayed in the Hotel Caribbean. And that was the least read post in the history of any blog posts. So, and then actually one thing is also interesting that a long time ago, I wrote about this Himalaya product, like you might know the product, like face cream and things like that. And that was written back in 2012, and it's an awful post. But it is still, by this day, the most popular post on my blog. And the reason being is that if you search for Himalaya kasvovoide, you will come to my blog because not everybody writes about it. So the way to do SEO, which is a whole other topic, is also to do something specific like that, because that's the way people still come to my blog. And I didn't intend to do that. I just wrote about it because I liked it a long time ago. And it's really amazing how people still find it. So yeah.
Maria, you had a question?
I was just wondering, is there any objective way to evaluate your work except obvious statistics of this kind?
I'm sure which
Because at some point I was also doing blogging.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in like top 100 popular blogs on WordPress.
Oh.
But then is there some program or something that you're doing something, it takes time to become popular. And is there any way to more or less evaluate, am I doing it right?
I think there's no right answer. The way that I personally do it is, well, I use Google Analytics for the numbers. From Google Analytics, I will see that, this blog post had this many readers, and for this reason, this is more, and my readers are 24-year-old women, and then I was surprised that actually more stuff than 40-year-old men. What's going on? So that will teach you a lot about who reads your blog and what they do on your blog. From Google Analytics, you can see how much time people spend on your site. So if there is a bounce rate, which means when you click on the blog, how quickly do you go away? If it's 90%, there's something wrong with your blog. You gotta do something about it. You might not know the right answer, but you have to find a way. So bounce rate is really something that will tell. In blogs, even in blogs, I think if you have like 35%, you're doing something amazing. But I often have 60 or 70, which is not great, but it's actually okay. So, but bounce rate that tells a lot of things on Google Analytics. And then also, I think beyond the numbers is the engagement and your community. In blogging, for me, beyond the numbers, it's really important to have that community of people who want inspiration to travel the world. And if I have a lot of comments on Instagram, like I might have 70 likes on a photo and 200 on another one, and the one with 70 likes has more comments. So that I think still brings more value, and that means my blog is more of value when the engagement is higher. So I think that's another way to value that.
Yeah.
One last question.
Does someone help you with the outlook of your channels, like Twitter or Instagram or?
I asked. We have a great community of travel bloggers in Finland. We help each other, and I think it's great. But I've done everything myself. But I do ask from other bloggers, like, I have no idea how to make this work. Can you tell me? And they will tell me. But for my blog, I do it myself, and it's sometimes a big struggle. And if you have some questions, you can still ask.
Yes.
After.
What's the next travel destination?
Next destination?
London.
London.
I've actually had 2 travel-free months. It's been awful, but London. Yes.
I would like to thank Veera so much
Thank you.
because I think you reinforced many of the things that I was saying also through the classes, and it's good to have someone else also telling the things from their professional experience as well, the importance of being on the social media, the quality of the content, but mostly the inspiration that you gave us, your commitment, your passion. I think I believe that you were very inspired by Veera's journey, right? Yes. So you were very inspiring person. I thought that when I met you also for the first time, I could see in your eyes that you'll go places and you'll achieve just that, being a world traveler and cosmopolitan young lady that you are. And I think I'm very proud, I can speak for Hakahelia Porvoo campus, that you are our student also and our alumna. I would like to give you this Hakahelia mug of thermos, because you also are a very avid smoothie drinker, and since you're a traveler, this very nice Hakahelia.
Great.
I don't know if you have that before. No,
I don't have
not this
No,
one.
all
All
new
right.
to me.
Good. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. You're gonna have lunch.
Veera has to be in another lecture as well, but you will be at 12 o'clock in our next class when Veera, I can invite you now to lunch. You'll meet one of our other guest lecturers also, who will talk about the culture expertise about 3D hologramming. Ooh, quite amazing. All right, so we have one viewer. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.